People think new construction ruins neighborhoods, but in areas with historic overlays, that's simply not true. A historic overlay is a local zoning layer used to preserve the visual character of certain areas. The overlay focuses on what's visible from the street. That includes additions, new construction, demolition, and exterior modifications. The goal is to keep the overall look and feel of the neighborhood consistent, even as properties are updated or redeveloped. And that's an important point, because change is still happening in these neighborhoods. Homes are being renovated, additions are being built, new houses are coming up. The difference is that those changes are reviewed through a design lens. Inside these districts, properties are categorized as either contributing or non-contributing. Contributing homes are considered part of the historic identity of the neighborhood, so changes to them are reviewed more carefully. Non-contributing properties tend to allow more flexibility. So when does review come into play? In most cases, it's tied to exterior work that can be seen from the public right-of-way. That could mean modifying the front facade, changing a roof line, adding on to the home, building something new on the lot, or altering features like windows, siding, or porches. Even site elements like fences or driveways can fall into that category. If your project involves those types of changes, you'll likely need a certificate of appropriateness, often referred to as a COA. That said, not every project goes through a full review process. Interior renovations are typically exempt. Simpler approvals may take a few weeks. Larger or more complex projects can stretch into a few months, especially if they require a public hearing. The design standards themselves are centered around compatibility. They look at things like overall scale, roof shapes, window patterns, materials, and how the structure fits on the lot. The intent isn't to copy historic homes exactly. It's to make sure that new work feels appropriate within the existing context. For example, additions are often permitted, but they're typically placed toward the rear and designed so the original structure remains the focal point. New construction is also possible, but it needs to reflect the proportions and spacing you see throughout the neighborhood. And when it comes to demolition, especially contributing structures, that's where oversight is the most stringent. These decisions usually require a higher level of review and justification. So what does all of this mean at a high level? Historic overlays don't prevent development in Nashville. They influence how that development shows up. They create a system where neighborhoods can continue to change without losing the characteristics that define them. And if you're buying, renovating, or building in one of these areas, understanding that system is critical, because it's not just about what you're allowed to do. It's about how your project fits into the long-term story of the neighborhood.